Hi everyone and welcome so much to this video. How are you guys doing? I wanted to do a video going a bit more into the clearing I talked about in the previous video that we are in now. And I will read up 2 messages I've been receiving in the end of this video. And it's all connected to what I was talking about at some point in November. I think it was the video I made on 2022. I said that the energies of 2022 would start coming in the end of November. So in my experience, and your experience might be very different, but what I experienced and still feel very strongly is that when New Year's actually happened in the linear calendar time, I didn't feel that shift at all this year. I felt it a month prior. And now it felt like there was a lot of shifting, a lot of energy moving through the whole of December, a lot of shifting, a lot like massive, a lot of energy coming in, things shifting, the whole unplugging from the old that I talked about, and this moving through and towards our personal portals. If you haven't watched my previous videos, they will explain more about those things. Now I feel we're more in an internal phase, so it's sort of like now everything we went through, everything that was activated, everything that was released in that period is now sort of we are aligning with that experience that we had, or those experiences, or the things that were stirred up, things that were activated, the expansion. We are embodying it and we are working with it. And so now it's more the internal phase where we are needing to clear a lot more distortions, a lot of people clearing also in the physical, getting rid of things they don't need, simplifying. It's becoming more and more clear that we don't need so many material things, maybe, or what are the things you really need, and just this sense of simplifying, coming back to the basics, coming back to nature, as we are coming back to who we are. It's perfectly mirroring that process that we are in, because we thought we were so many things that we are not. And we were attached to so many things that aren't really the essentials and what we truly are. We can appreciate it, but we know that we are not it. So that's sort of coming back to the more simple lifestyle, coming back to nature, coming back to ourselves, coming back to understanding and knowing and experiencing more and more of who we truly are. Now, as we now are realigning with what was activated, what was changed, what was shifting, the transformation from what we were moving through end of November throughout December, is now the internal phase, clearing, as I said, both maybe the physical, also more beliefs, distortions, programs coming up. Physical things maybe even, how can I explain this? Yeah, so what they're showing me right now is that it's things that might have been even healed, or experienced as healed, might have been sort of just suddenly, seemingly out of nowhere, coming up, seeming to be back, and it will disappear as quickly. Might have already disappeared if you have experienced it, or it might do that very soon, because there are frequencies held in the body that has been stirred up that are now clearing, which there's a memory just coming up in the physical body of where that frequency was also held. So we will just experience that as it's sort of flushing through a lot, maybe purging, drink a lot of water, like make it easy for the body to let go of all these old things. So there's clearing on all levels, emotionally, mentally, physically, and also in our environment, for many. I also had this dream recently. So I have different types of dreams, and some dreams are very, very clear, that are like messages, where there's like I become lucid, and there's more than just a clearing out the head type of dream. In this dream, I was in a place which was a bit hotel-like. There were people that are not in my physical location. Some people I have no idea who are, and some people I do know, though not in the physical environment where I'm located. Though I knew the frequency and the energy of everyone, so it felt like, even though it wasn't like I saw everyone very clearly, like their physical body, and the people I didn't recognize in the physical, I felt the energy of them. And there were these different things going on, and I remember I was receiving new clothes and 3 very specific items of jewelry. These were amazingly beautiful, and they had this geometric, or this beautiful geometry on it. The clothing, really amazing. And some was gifted to me, and some just appeared out of thin air, just in front of me, and it was there. What suddenly happened was that we had to relocate. Completely out of nowhere, no one knew about this. And we were in a rush to pack. So everyone were going to their rooms, packing, and we had to get out immediately. Now, I remember so clearly that I couldn't fit everything into my bags. The things I brought and the new items that had been gifted to me. And so in the rush, though there was no sense of stress or fear at all in the situation, it was just this knowing that we need to get out immediately. I chose to leave my old clothes behind and bring my new clothes in the bags. And in that moment, I woke up. And I am aware that there are many people around the world that have had very similar dreams lately. We can interpret this in different ways, and some may be more literal than others. I think the essence of it, which is important, is the clearing out and leaving the old behind, shedding the skin, the old skin, who you no longer are. Because it's so easy in the daily life, in the mundane, in our routines, to just keep going with the same routines, doing things the same way we always did. But we have been shifting so much quicker than we have been previously. So we are not used to changing our habits, our routines, our ways of doing as quickly as we're doing now, because we're shifting so quickly on the inside. So maybe it's so literal as some clothing that doesn't resonate anymore. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel like you anymore. You can give it to someone else. You can gift it to someone who can have good use of it. Whether it is moving closer to nature, maybe changing the size of your place. Maybe you will be asked to suddenly relocate in the physical experience. The essence is this simplifying, this getting clear of what is real, what is you, what is authentic, and be prepared for very sudden shifts and changes. I think that fluidity, that ability to stay present, and not, because if we have our minds out there and we're trying to control or steer things, or we are constantly searching for what does this mean? Who is going to do what at what time? What's going on? What does this really mean? And diving too much into because there's so many rabbit holes we can dive into, right? So if we use too much of our energy doing that, or just being occupied with our routines and planning and all kinds of distractions, rather than being present and really aware of what's going on inside, it's going to be more challenging, because the more we come back to ourselves and the more we are centered, the more easy we will be able to make these quick shifts. Because things will, the way when they show it to me, it's like I hear this sound, like suddenly like there's something changing and shifting and shifting and shifting. It's like out of thin air, just like the clothes in the dream just appearing out of nowhere. But these can be challenging if we are resisting it, or if we are trying to control another outcome or not wanting to go with it. So I'm not saying this as if I am the master of it and I'm going to nail everything that will be put in front of me this year. I've had quite a week already, so I'm not saying this from a point of having it all figured out and mastering everything, but I think this is what we need to practice. This is what we need to have our attention towards, what we want to, the state we want to come into, and detach from more and more and more. And I think this is why many people now are experiencing this. It's like a death and rebirth process, right? Whether it's your own patterns, your own beliefs, programs, routines, maybe you're shedding jobs, relationships, sudden shifts in all of these kind of things. Locations, there will be more relocations throughout this year, quite a lot it looks like. So when these shifts are happening, it's like a death to the ego. It's a death to certain habits, certain patterns, and maybe periods and parts of your life. And while we are letting go of that, and we are moving with all of these shifts and sudden changes, it's important to focus on coming back, because it's so easy to go out in distraction and not gather our energy and staying centered, and it will cause much more challenge and suffering for ourselves. It's also important to remember when these kind of things happen, that oftentimes, and that is what will be the case now, we are moving towards more alignment. So the more we come back to our joy, the more we keep focusing on what do I actually want to create, because we are creating now. So the more we're distracted into what is falling, what is falling apart and crumbling, the less energy we will have to put into our creation. And we want to create in joy. We want to create in that feeling of what world do I want to live in? What do I want to experience? What emotions, what feelings do I want to live in? How do I want to feel when I wake up in the morning? How do I want to feel throughout my day? What kind of days do I want? How do I want to live? So the more clear we get on this and try to be in those emotions and be in the creation of this, what steps can I take? How can I engage my energy into something throughout my day that aligns my energy and my focus to what I want to create and what I want to see in the world? This is going to be important. And in this process, that with ego deaths and we're shedding and there's a lot of shifts and changes, and maybe grief coming up because of this. And I start talking. Let me just tune in. Yeah, what they're saying is that if we are trying to have too many rules or too many specific ideas as to how we're going to do something, okay, if this thing happens, I'm going to do this and this and this and this. In my creation process, I'm going to do it like this and this and this. And then you have this very structured ways that we need to let go of that. So it's almost like they showed me this, the energy of that, and then they sort of swiped my mind completely as to like what I was going to explain. And I said that this is the state we need to get to. We need to clear, we need to empty out, and then we need to be ready to what unfolds. And that creation and that excitement comes from within, when we are not too structured and not too fixed in the ways of doing, because it's going to shift. And if you feel in the process that you're not really sure about what actually sparks joy in me, try different things. Try go in nature, try to, play with a child, try to remember back to your childhood. What sparked joy in you? What did you love to do when you were a child? Find those moments and try reconnecting with it. Listen to some music. We don't need to have it all figured out. Just play with it instead of going into, oh my goodness, I don't know, what am I going to do, what can I create, what is my joy, I'm just confused, I'm going through all this clearing, there's all these patterns coming up. Play with it. I'm going to try out a new thing every day, or a couple of new things today, and I'll see if I find joy in it. If I find joy in it, awesome. I find something new that sparks joy in me. I can play with this. It can get me that feeling, and I can get new ideas, and I can get sort of in that zone. Maybe I try something and I absolutely hate it. I don't enjoy it at all. Then I know that, well, that's not where I find my joy. So if we take some of the seriousness out of it and we come back to just playing with it and have joy with it, it will help us in the process. Now, what it feels like is that many of those that have been sort of labeled as way showers, starseeds, light workers, all of these labels are moving through this sort of process. There will be masses, like really a lot of people waking up. They will experience the same things really rapidly, and they will need assistance while they're going through it, a lot of them. And so the clearing that we are going through now is preparing us for stepping into that in a bigger way in the time coming. This is how it looks to me. There are also a lot of people I would expect having more experiences with the Kundalini energy, because there's a lot of fire energy in the earth now. It's like when I connect into the earth, I go like gradually deeper and deeper into the earth. And now that like the really fiery, really powerful, strong energy it feels like it's right under the surface. And with also all the energy that is coming in, of course it's activating that fire within a lot of people. And I would also expect more weather changes, more extreme, like more movement on the earth in general. I've been talking about this before as well, but I feel it a lot now. So I just want to mention that again. There's a lot of ancestral healing going on. And I will share one example of something I have experienced now in the last week and a half. A lot of ancestral clearing going on. And this is something I've been doing a lot of. Never forcing it or trying to make it happen, but it's when I'm holding space and I'm going into a certain state that I allow it to open, and it sort of shows me and it happens. That's how I experience it, and things might be very different for other people. So it's not how it's going, like how it has to be done. I'm just explaining it so that you get the perspective from where I'm coming from. It's been very, very physical. So I experienced 2 days where so I'm always observing myself, right? So I had these impulses and I had these thoughts and I had these feelings that was very, very foreign to me. And I knew it wasn't me, or I knew it wasn't mine. So I just observed it and I learned from it. It taught me a lot about that specific pattern and that experience in life, because it's something that I have not experienced, and I haven't had people in my life growing up having that experience. And so it's nothing I am like too familiar with, even though I know about it and I've been taught about it, and I do know people now having experienced this specific thing in their lives, but it's very different when you feel it and you think it and you have the impulses. But I didn't act on it. I kept observing it. And then the third day in a meditation, suddenly there were one specific ancestor of mine standing in front of me. And then it all clicked into place, because I knew that that I was experiencing was something that this person had been going through in their life, and a pattern, a way of coping from this person, and the patterning and the energetics of that. And then it was shown to me that it's clearing out of the DNA. So that's why it was such a physical experience. For some reason in that, it's not always that physical for me. Well, it have never been to that degree physical. But I wanted to share this just as an example of how experiences can shift and change, and just to be open to it and to keep observing it, because there are a lot of things, really deep things that we're not aware of, that is clearing on a really deep cellular level. And so when these things are happening or we're experiencing it, just taking a step back, observing and coming back to you is really important. I hope that made sense. So I was shown that the next 5 months is sort of like we're being squeezed, so that distortions are coming out, and this is what we're really feeling or experiencing now. And there will be sort of waves coming with this, and as I explained earlier, one group will have more intense experiences of this now, and then there will be other groups later. And I will read up 2 of these messages, as I said. So one they were explaining about this incoming energy, and they said that it's melting away what is no longer true. So much more higher frequency is and will be coming in. It will pressure against the human. All the distortions will be pushed to the forefront. Humanity are and will be pushed, humanity are and will the coming 5 months be squeezed to come through more empowered, detached from the distortions, and with a more clear frequency. It is all about rising above what you are not. The next 5 months is the biggest clearing in history. Remember who you are. It will be the best support. You are not what is clearing. You are about to prepare for the massive rise that is to come. And they also said that the new pathways are ready, and they showed me simultaneously the new grade and new pathways, neural pathways in the brain. That those are sort of mirroring each other. So the new pathways are ready. Play in those. It's all a choice now. You can see the magic above the dark, the challenge and the conflicts. Create your magic in these new pathways. Be aware of feelings, thoughts, and old patterns stemming from the old. Do not create from those. Choose differently. You can. It's there. It's yours, day by day. Creating magic, bringing magic, being magic. Because that's what we are. That's who we are. We are beings alchemizing, transforming, and creating. And so there will be a lot of magic, a lot of blissful feelings also in what we're going to move through. Because the more of the distortion that is clearing, the more we will experience synchronicities in our life, the more we will see that what we are wanting to and working with to create is actually coming through. There will be so much less experience time in between the intention, in between the idea and the spark to it actually being in the physical, because there's less distortion and there's less of our energy that is moving in all different directions. So no matter whether you're in the bliss state or whether you're deep in the darkness of an experience, know that it is moving you through and towards this massive rise that we will be experiencing, and the creation of the new systems and the new communities, the new world that we will be living in. It looks really, really beautiful, even though insane at the same time with intensity. Taking or moving, that we will be moving through, going there. So remember to detach and come back from anything going on in the external. And knowing, as I said, remember who you are. That will be your greatest support. And also that you are not what you are clearing. You are what is the light and the consciousness underneath it all. And that's what's shining brighter and brighter and brighter. So I hope this is helpful for you. Thank you to everyone commenting. I love reading your comments and your sharings, and I know others also appreciate what you share. And thank you to everyone who are sharing the videos. It's very helpful. I hope you have a good day. I will see you in the next video, and I thank you so much for being here. Bye bye.